So are we ready?
This is Jay.
This is A.
And this is Moxicated.
Where we drop the booze and walk through the reality of life alcohol-free.
So grab your favorite mock, get ready to laugh, and let's get Moxicated.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. A little sound.
It sounded like a rattlesnake.
I think I saw a snake recently. Have you ever seen a snake in real life, like in the wild?
Yeah.
This was gliding on top of the grass. Like it wasn't through the grass, it was on top.
No, yeah. We saw one the last time we went to the river. There was one in the Acequia, like going, and all the kids tried to chase it. And I was like, no. We just watched those from afar, and we will be very far away from them. Because I didn't know if it was just like a guard, like... Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know what kind of snake. I'm not a professional snake or reptile person.
I'm not a reptile person. I usually skip that at the zoo.
My kids do not allow. Quinn has wanted a snake her whole life. And I'm like, I had a rat as a pet. We cannot have a snake in my house. I like rodents. And speaking of prairie dogs, they carry the plague. I found out this weekend. We're one of the only states that still has them because of the plague, but they are so cute. They are the cutest thing. I almost sent pictures to you multiple times because you would love them. They are so cute, and they make calls back and forth to each other to tell them if they're safe. And I was like standing in one road, and they were calling from back and forth, and it's like a cute, like it's the cutest sound, and they're the cutest little things that I've ever seen.
Do they bite you? Is that how you get the plague?
Yes. Yes. They gave us strict instructions to not try to catch any prairie dogs.
When you said speaking of rodents, I was all Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah. See, you're a rodent fan, too.
But then in my head, I was like, is that disrespectful?
Never.
He calls Sir Mouse a rodent? Because he is.
That's who
a mouse.
That's who he is.
He's the leader.
The leader of them.
He's the leader of my family, and I'm going to see him soon.
I know. When? Where? Why?
You know what? I was actually thinking it's a travesty for my family because we are only going to Disneyland once this year, and I know that really you're probably like, get this girl. I'm turning the radio off right now. And it's okay. Turn it off, but turn it back on in 2 seconds. Because we usually go a lot. We're obsessed. We're a Disney family. And so it's cool, though, because it's the 70th anniversary of its birthday.
That's a big birthday.
It's a big birthday, 70 years old. And funny enough, I was at the 50th anniversary because this is so
Of course you were.
I know. And then you're going to laugh at the story even more. I was there for a dance competition in my teens, and it was my last dance competition as a dancer. I did not dance anymore after this. This was my final one.
I remember that era, too, the end of dance.
It was a bad era. Yeah. But anyway, so for some reason, my mom couldn't take me, and my mom took me. I mean, that's who did that. Yes. I needed my mom. So my dad had to take me, and this was very awkward for the two of us. God, yes. And because it was in Anaheim, we decided to go to Disneyland, right? Why wouldn't we? And we literally went on the day. We didn't even plan it. It was the day of the 50th birthday. Gosh. And just me and my dad just... We were so awkward. I think back at it, and we went to Disneyland a lot, and so riding the rides wasn't awkward, but it was just like a 16-year-old girl that already didn't have the greatest relationship. We're just walking through Disneyland. But anyways, I still wear that as a badge of honor because I'm now going to be there at the 70th. Yeah. So I'll probably be there at the 90th. Yeah. We do 20-year intervals.
Yeah. Except for 2 times a year in between.
Well, that's just normal celebrations. But I am excited. I think my kids might ride... Okay, I think Miles might ride Space Mountain. Oh. We've been watching Incredibles. Brady's new favorite one is Incredibles. And so they have the Incredicoaster, but you have to be tall. That's the tallest ride. Yeah. Silas is not even anywhere close. And he's the only one that wants to ride it. Yeah. I'm like, no.
No, you're not allowed. The rules. You just have to say the rules. Sorry, Bubby.
I know. But no one else wants to ride it except for me. And this is sometimes what happens at Disneyland is I will ride the rides by myself.
Yeah. No, so we just went to the local amusement park, and someone told me...
Shout out to Cliffs.
Yeah. Someone told me that just wear platforms for Quinn. Because they do have platforms. So if Kyla needs like an inch or two, go get the Converse platforms or like the.
That is so smart.
Target, I think, too, has like the platform tennis shoes.
You get like baby lifts for the boys.
Yeah.
Like lifts in their shoes.
But for the girls, because even they were talking
they
about
sell them, I mean, they're like, the 90s
everywhere.
are back.
Yeah. And so they were like,
Spice Girls.
just wear your platforms that way if you need
Thank you.
a half inch or so.
Yeah, that's really good. Miles got stitches the other day and we went to the doctor and my main focus was like, can you please measure them? We're going to Disneyland soon. I need to know the heights.
My gosh. I didn't even know he got stitches.
Oh my God. Hi.
Wow. And we've talked so much. There's just been a lot going on.
Can I just tell you this?
Yeah.
He got 7 stitches.
Where?
In his knee.
Ah.
And he's about to turn 8, so he's 7 years old. And I told him, was this how you wanted to go out in your 7th year getting 7 stitches? I had not looked at it that much because I'm squeamish.
Woozy.
Yeah, I don't do those things. This happened when I was out of town. And then when we went to go get it checked by the doctor, the first thing she said was, it's in the shape of a 7. 777.
Oh my gosh.
Luckiest kid alive. I wish he could blow on the dice at the casino, but I think they'd kick us out.
How emotional for you to not be here while he was getting stitches.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I had just got out of a sound bath and she did a lot of gong work and the gongs really bust you open. And I haven't been drunk since September 30th, 2019. And I was just like, I was open after the sound bath and I awoke to these messages and I'm like on the phone with Philip and I'm like, hey, how is it? Are you okay? Like experiencing all these emotions. I'm like, these people probably think I'm drunk, but I'm not. I'm just coming out of a sound bath.
Yeah.
To my son having stitches for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. We're fine. It was probably better that it happened when I wasn't here because I would have freaked out and he would have wanted me.
Yeah.
And Philip is much calmer.
Yeah. And you can't do the woozy things.
Yeah, because I am emotionally unstable.
Yeah. Yes. Not to confirm, but
yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that actually leads us in to where we are.
Yes.
What are we talking about today, Alexandra?
Emotional sobriety.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Which I feel like just in life, even if you're not sober, emotional is such a huge part of life. And we learn at a young age, physical, mental, emotional, all of that.
Yes.
And that you need all of this for a well-rounded experience.
But nobody teaches you. Nobody teaches you how. And I think it's so interesting, I guess, to say the words emotional sobriety, because as someone who is emotionally unstable, is an emotional person, is sensitive, if you are that way and you've ever felt all those emotions when they flood you, it is kind of being drunk with emotion. Yeah. You are drunk on that emotion. That emotion has taken over your prefrontal cortex. It is making all of your decisions. It is not coming from a calm, steady, centered spot. You are drunk with emotion, and the actions that you take because of that have similar consequences, similar feelings of shame, similar spirals that you do with drinking alcohol.
Yeah. And I think, too, in early sobriety, you're really just focused on the physical side of sobriety, not drinking, not physically drinking.
And how your body feels and
how you're going to not drink the next day physically. Yes. How am I going to not go to the fridge? How am I going to go to a barbecue? And what am I
going to hold in my hand?
Yes. It's the physical part of sobriety. Mm-hmm. And it's so apparent in the beginning. And then I feel like once you get past the physical, that's when you realize the emotional side is so large.
Yes.
Because our brains, even as sober moms, our brains play tricks on us every day.
All the time.
It is the emotional side, which I try to preach to my children a lot, is so much more important than the physical side. Mm-hmm. And physical is needed, yes, but the emotional side is how we feel, how, it's how we're going to go to sleep at night.
Right.
It's
like you shine from the inside out. And I think that that's your foundation, is your inside your core, your emotions. And if that's unstable, if that's feeling rocky, everything else is going to be rocky. So you need to come from a place of like emotional stability before anything else. I totally agree. We asked Google.
Yes, we did.
What emotional sobriety was, in case you were wondering, people. Simply put, it means that you are comfortable being present with all of your feelings without any one of them defining or controlling you. Developing emotional sobriety often involves several different activities, working with a therapist, processing the emotional up and downs as they happen, and so on. And so I think that that's just like pretty clear, like not getting drunk on your emotion.
Yeah.
And I will be 100% honest, 6 years into physical sobriety, I have not attained emotional sobriety. I think that in some aspects I have, and I think that every single moment or interaction that I have experienced sober has led me closer to establishing emotional sobriety, where you are not influenced by your emotions.
Yeah. Well, and two, I think that the emotional side is so important, because I think that your emotional sobriety is also what's going to keep you sober. Mm-hmm. Because your brain, like, I know I've already said this, it is you, like, oh, the words, there's so many words in my brain. But no, and it's like, just simply put, like the quote, like, you're not everything that you think, because your brain can just spiral and spiral and spiral.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I not going to let my emotions control me? And I think in early sobriety and sobriety, when we are feeling emotional, before we got sober, what did we do?
Right.
We drank. And so the coping mechanisms are so large in your emotional sobriety, because society has taught us when we are even happy, when we celebrate, we drink. When we get a break from our kids, we drink. When we do this, we drink.
When you break up from your partner, you drink.
You know, like positive or negative, you drink. And it's like, so rewiring your brain to actually sitting in it, and also just like processing and being present, like Jess just read, like not allowing. And I kind of disagree with you in that you're not emotionally sober. I think I think you're also have emotional dysregulated because of your diagnosis and ADHD.
It does provide like a kind of thin line there.
Yes, but I think you very much so can be in a situation and the emotions are present, and maybe at times you can't control them, but I think also after, you know exactly, which drunk Jess would have never known. But your self-awareness now matched with the emotional sobriety, I think, is a part of your journey.
I think what you hit on the head, which is like the biggest part of emotional sobriety coming out of physical sobriety, is coping mechanisms.
Yes.
That's the biggest part of it, because you are not going to achieve any sort of stability without a coping mechanism. And sometimes you look at coping mechanisms and just think that they're all negative. Like, oh, well, you drink as a coping mechanism. Yeah, that's a negative coping mechanism. But there are so many positive coping mechanisms that we just conveniently were forgot to be taught when we were younger, or like nobody has ever been taught until now. Moxicated's the first. Just kidding. But that's the thing that I have.
Yes.
That is and I think that that's the first step of emotional sobriety, is not putting in place coping mechanisms. What are yours? Like, what is my body right now? What does it want to do before I even think? Like, I'm sad, so what does my body immediately want to do? Does it want to drink? Does it want to yell? Does it want to scream? Does it want to cry? Does it want to blame someone else? Like, what does my body want to do? How does it want to cope? And is it trying to cope? Is it reaching for something to cope? That's the first thing. And then from there, it's trial and error.
Yes, totally.
Because there's so much coping. I want to keep making the words one. Coping mechanisms. And once you're able to find 3, I'm just going to throw that number out, that you can rely on, even when you get drunk emotionally, you have these coping mechanisms that pull you back, as opposed to getting drunk emotionally and then your coping mechanism is getting drunk physically.
Something that is hilarious. You didn't even know. In my notes, I have exactly 3 ways to do this. And that's how aligned we are. And I'm just going to say them.
Yeah.
For an emotion, like regulate your emotion. The first one is to recognize the emotion. Because that is huge.
Call it out.
Call it out. Like,
without judgment.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to put that in.
And without shame too.
Yes.
Like, a lot of the time we're feeling something that we don't want to feel.
Yes.
But you need to acknowledge that feeling and call that emotion out and recognize it. And the second one is to accept that.
Yeah.
Like, call it out and then accept it. I am feeling this way. Mm-hmm. This is I don't want to feel this way, but I am.
And it's okay.
Yes. And then the third is to learn to manage rather than be overwhelmed by it. And how to learn how to manage, it's more of, that's going to be specific to each person, just like in sobriety on your journey. It is so personal and to each person's journey. We can give you tips and tricks, but also we can't tell you what's going to work for you because we're not you.
Right. And I think that approaching that in this, when you're like, okay, where do I start with new ways to cope or how to deal with my emotions, is when we look to resources, whether they be people we follow online or articles we read, we look at them from more of a curiosity standpoint and like, here's a cool list of things I can try. And I'm not going to like some, and I am going to like some, as opposed to this is a how-to, and this is the only way. And if I do these 3 things, this is the magical solution for me to then fill this. Because when we put ourselves in those boxes, first of all, we're just telling ourselves that we don't believe in like our fullity, but we're cutting off opportunities. We're cutting off things that might really, really work for us that just because that person doesn't do, they don't talk about.
Yes.
And it's not their journey because they've tried it, but you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about some coping mechanisms?
I would
some healthy ways
to talk about some healthy ways to cope.
So one, which I think that we preach a lot, and can be so many different things, is self-care. Think of you right then in that moment. For me, a breath of fresh air. Like if I am struggling, I need to go outside. I need to change my environment. I need to, whether I was outside, I'm going to go inside. I'm going to, I need to change the temperature, change the environment in that, because that can help me refocus or even distract myself from what was triggering me in that moment.
Well, and your emotion, your mind and your emotions are so much stronger than your body. And I think that sometimes too, like putting your body in a situation, like just like you said, changing your environment somehow allows your emotions to kind of like recalibrate and get back on. They're like, okay. Yeah. I'm in charge. Like body just needed to move, but I'm back. I'm in charge. Something that I have really started doing a lot, and I'm so sorry. I don't know if a therapist taught me this, if I saw it from somebody, if Philip's therapist told him, who the frick I don't know how I figured this out, or someone told it to me. I did not come up with this on my own, but something I do with my kids a lot, because we are an emotionally dysregulated bunch, our little neurodivergent brains, and I think I always do it wrong every single time, but it really doesn't matter. It's like the five things you can see.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel.
2 things you can smell.
2 things you can... Thank you. It was the smell. We did this yesterday at the game and I was missing a sense. 2 things you can smell and 1 thing you can taste.
Yes.
And that, I have literally watched my kids crawl out of their dysregulation looking at those things.
Yes.
And then it also makes you notice how wonderful your surroundings are, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're awful, and so leave.
Well, and honestly, it's just a great distraction from what was triggering you to need a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Another one for me is meditation. And I think that somewhere along the line, people get confused about meditation and think that it needs to be a 30-minute silent,
Can't speak.
Yeah, can't speak, can't move, can't.
Yes.
No. And meditation, once again, I know I've already said this, is solely personal. It's to you.
And it looks different.
Yeah, it looks different for everyone. If you need 30 seconds to sit, close your eyes, breathe, then 30 seconds might help you. If you have 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. But it does not have to be 30 minutes, an hour. It does not have to be this huge, long...
It also doesn't have to be silence. You can meditate to music. You can put music in and sit and listen to music quietly. You can go for a walk and be meditating. Meditating is more about just like being present in your mind. And I think another misconception about meditation is that like when you're in active meditation, you're like soaring through the astral realm and you're like, doing all of this work on your Akashic records up there. Like, no, like sometimes when we're in meditation, you're like, okay, I'm thinking about what I'm having for dinner. And then you're like, shut up, brain, don't do that. And like, just keep focusing. And that's meditation.
Yes.
That like, I think people sit down to meditate and that happens and they give up because they're like, oh, my brain won't shut up.
Yeah.
So that's the point. Like, let your brain figure out what it needs to say. And I think another good one, moving on to that, letting your brain say what it needs to say, is writing it out.
Yes, that was next.
Is that
journaling.
Your next one?
Yeah, journaling.
And I think, again, that's different for everyone. I am a vocal processor. I would probably like do well with like a vocal journal.
Yeah.
But I get my feelings out by saying them, even if it's somebody that like needs to hear it or doesn't need to hear it. As long as I process them outwardly, perfect. But there are so many people that don't process and have had their voices silenced or don't feel safe speaking up. And the best way to get your words out is to write them down.
Yes.
Judgment free.
Yeah. And a couple episodes ago, we had Mental Load AF. And if you listen to that, that is like the biggest thing for me is I have to write it down.
Yeah.
When I'm mad, sad, overwhelmed, happy. It's like write it down for me to be able to stop fixating or even thinking about it and being able to move on to the next thing. Like if something is just driving me insane, if I sit down and write it out, like I can almost release it from my brain. It's not released completely because it's still sitting on paper. That's why we also like to burn things when we need things to be completely released.
Right.
But even just writing it down and providing more space in your brain for the other mental load of it all is huge.
Well, and when you think about being drunk with emotion, right? All of that emotion is literally sitting here. I take my glasses off. Sitting here in your prefrontal cortex, like swirling around this drunkenness of emotion. And so when you take that emotion and put it to paper, it's not the same as alcohol. You can't get alcohol out of your system that easy.
No.
But it's like, oh, okay. And then you're looking at it and you're like, okay, now that I'm looking at it from a bird's eye view and it's not attacking my brain, I'm not drunk on that emotion anymore. Now that emotion feels gone.
Yeah.
And I think that what Allie said was a good point, because maybe you write something down and you're like, well, I don't want my partner to see this, or like, God, that was really mean what I said. I needed to say that, but that was really fucking mean what I said. And so don't carry it with you anymore. Burn it, let it go, release it, because you carrying the negativity around it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah.
So releasing it, if you need to, take an extra step, that's really going to clear it out.
Yeah. A very healthy thing in sobriety that I think we've talked about a lot is play the tape forward. And, it's very popular in a lot of support groups. But if you don't know about playing the tape forward, that can be so helpful in your sobriety. And even this last weekend, I was texting with a friend who has a couple years under his belt, and he was like, I want to drink every single day. And I just told him, play it forward. And he says, I have to do that every day because I know my life is going to be worse drinking.
Well, and it kind of makes like, it gives a timeline to the emotion, because that's another thing about being drunk in emotion. And I just can't stop comparing the two, because I've felt both so much. But like being drunk in, with alcohol, you can't control what you're doing. And so being drunk in emotion, you feel like you can't control. You feel like you're gonna make decisions or make mistakes, or maybe sometimes you do, because you're drunk with emotion and sitting in it and being like, taking that emotion and laying it out and playing the tape out and saying, okay, like, what is this emotion really saying to me? If I played into this emotion, where would it go?
Yeah.
If I followed this anger where it wants to take me, what's going to happen?
Yes.
If I, follow this sadness, if I follow this happiness, honestly, like playing it forward and being like, okay, taking a step, it's a pause.
Yeah.
Before you let that drunk emotion just take you into what you regret.
Yeah.
Sitting there and being like, okay, if I let that happen, where is it going to take me? Yeah. What's going to come?
Yes. So my last one, which we have a lot of other coping mechanisms, but this is just what I have on the forefront of the brain.
Yes.
Is if you're able to exercise, sweat it out. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was in Jess's spin class and dying on the bike, but also crying because I needed a different outlet and didn't know how to get like what I would consider a useless emotion. Like, oh, I don't want to spend time on that. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And it's like, but we're like exercising and sweating, like sometimes it just brings the tears out of you and you're like, I don't even know why I'm crying. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this release was so important to my body. And now I'm recharged and ready to move on. And so I think if you're in the position to go on a walk, movement, even stretching, if you can't leave your house because you have your children or you just all the things of life, stretch, do a little sun salutation, do something, just any type of movement. And I mean, there's science behind it too. Even like for when I was pre-diabetic, they would tell me if I had sugar, lift weights for 5 minutes, and that is going to lower your blood glucose. Like, wow. That's the science. 5 minutes of lifting a 5-pound weight, if I had too much sugar, is changing my blood glucose levels. Like,
which also affects your emotions.
Exactly. But so it's like the power of movement also through your emotional sobriety is also huge. And I know we talk about it a lot, how once you get sober, it's like the wellness spiral. It's because there's science behind it.
Yeah. It's because stuff keeps feeling good and making a difference in your life.
Yes. And so,
well, when you think about unprocessed emotions, and I'm not a therapist, I just pretend to be, and like the science of unprocessed emotions and your animal brain and all of this stuff, like that book, The Body Keeps Score.
Oh my God, such a heavy but great book.
Yeah. Like the unprocessed emotions don't disappear.
No.
They're hiding in your body. And it was so funny. I had this image earlier when we were talking about calling the emotions out. And it was like someone taking attendance. And it's like, anger, are you here? Yep, I'm here. And then anger goes. And you're like, okay, happiness, you're here? Yep. And like, what's left? Like sadness in the corner who didn't want to be called on.
Jealousy.
Shame that's over there in the corner. And like, you couldn't see him, because you're calling your class and like, they're all in the corners. And then what happens? You move your body. Someone says something while you're processing, and that little corner, there was that jealousy. There was that, sadness, that forgetting, like feeling left behind. And you really can move through so many unprocessed emotions by simply just moving your body. And fitness, and we've talked about fitness a lot in here. I'm a fitness instructor, so this is always my soapbox. But it's just so much more than what you see.
Yes.
Like yoga isn't just getting on a mat, doing a 30-minute thing that you watch somebody, or going to a hot studio, spinning on a bike isn't just like you're outside, hardcore. You can make anything prayerful. You can make anything spiritual. Moving your body the way that you want to move it. If you invent a yoga move that no one's ever done before, who fucking cares? Like, how cool are you? Yeah. Like, it gets to be your own thing. Just like we always preach about everything, but this moving your body, what feels good, you know what, I did that spin class and I cried and it felt good, but then I did that other class and I didn't feel good and I didn't like it, and that person, made me feel bad about myself or whatever. Figuring that out and not judging yourself. Just because someone else can do, spin classes like M&M's and you hate spinning on your bike, that does not make you not able to move your body.
Yeah.
Or not able to take place in the fitness world.
Yeah. I'm a hot yoga hater.
I'm a hot yoga lover.
And and literally, I used to force myself to go with my friend.
You would force it,
I would force it. And I'm like, no, they keep telling me I'm going to like it at some point, that I'm going to get addicted to it at some point. I don't drink enough water to do hot yoga, okay? I have other issues. It's not the hot yoga. It's the fact that I am not hydrating my body enough. And after hot yoga, I have a headache for the rest of the day, and I'm cold and sweaty, and I do not like it. So do you know what?
She can't see driving home.
I don't do hot yoga anymore because it does not feel right to me. Some people used to freak out that I did spin all day, and I'm like, if you don't like it, you don't have to.
Right.
I enjoy it, and so it's, how many times am I going to say this? It is to you. What works for you might not work for other people, and that is okay.
Yes.
This is our journey, and this is your journey.
Yeah. So once you remove the equation of alcohol, you go through your physical body, withdrawals, physical needs, and then you are left there with the mess of emotions. The first place you look is coping mechanisms. And I would then venture to say the second in my unofficial guidebook is community.
Oh, 100% community.
I think it is so much easier to be emotionally sober when you can be emotional with safe people.
Yeah, and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. When I can sit here and feel my tears as much as I need to feel them with Allie in a safe space, I'm not drunk over them. I'm feeling my emotion to the exact needed amount, and then guess what? It goes. And it goes on its way, and I say, bye, I'll see you when you come back around. It doesn't stay and sit with me. And I don't hold it in and then get emotionally drunk afterwards on that person or on somebody else. So I think having your coping mechanisms and then being able to talk about it, because sometimes those coping mechanisms are going to suck and they're going to fail and they're not going to work. And you're going to sit there and you're going to feel alone, but you're not alone. And all of us have tripped over our coping mechanisms. I sit here, and maybe by the end of the episode, I'll say I am emotionally sober, but I sit here at almost 6 years sober and go, I don't know, am I not? Like, it's not gonna look perfect. It's not gonna be, perfect right off the bat, but you have community where you get to say that person's wasn't perfect either.
Yeah.
And like, she's still struggling with that, and she's actually checked all these other boxes, but not this one, or whatever it is. It's like, okay, I'm not alone.
It's the emotional roller coaster of sobriety. There's ups, there's downs. We have years under our belts, and there's still ups and downs. Like, it's...
And we're still learning new coping mechanisms. We're still finding new emotions every day. Like, Allie and I will think that, we're feeling very confident and great, and then maybe something will happen that will trigger something in us, and we're like, oh, why are we feeling like that? Like,
oh my God.
Oh my God, I didn't think I could feel like that. I know. I don't think I could feel like that anymore. And then it's like, okay, well, here's some more work to do, but it's like, it never stops. It does get better, but it just doesn't stop, because it gets richer, and then it stops being like an attack on you.
I think too, we are growing. You are growing on this journey.
Yes,
you're becoming more self-aware.
Yes.
You're becoming, like, the growth that you're doing in your sobriety is huge, and it might not feel huge, but it is. And when you look back, when I think of myself even 3 years ago, the growth from my sobriety 3 years ago till now is 20 years. It feels like,
even in the last year.
Yeah, seriously. And so it's like, this is something that any person can relate to, is the emotional sobriety. I think even sober curious people, people that are still drinking, this is something that is not linear. it's for everyone.
Well, and I think too, if you think about using the word growth and thinking about like a plant growing, you know, you don't just put the seed in and then the next day you have this beautiful, perfect flower. Like you put the seed in, it sprouts the roots first, which is like your first months of sobriety. That's just you being stable, girlfriend. And then coming up out is like, okay, now I'm ready to talk about it. And then maybe you get a leaf and that's like, okay, I can go out. And then you get another leaf and you're like, this is what I like to drink. And you know, and then all of those beautiful petals are going to be parts of your emotional sobriety. And they don't just happen. I mean, me and Allie are Zinnia
obsessed.
Aficionado, obsessed. And do you know, like every little petal, it takes a long time for you to get that full, gorgeous zinnia that is what you want to take home.
And not to also talk more about zinnias. So if you don't water them for a day, they'll start to lose their color and almost die.
They'll wilt too.
And then you water them, and it will literally grow a new flower on top of the dead flower that was forgotten.
Yep.
Literally, it keeps growing. And honestly, I feel like maybe I'll even take a picture. I have a lot because I was away for a day and my husband forgot to water that day.
Zinnias.
So now I have a lot of new growth literally on top of the flower.
Well, and that's just like goes to show you, like, it's not even like clearing everything out and starting new. You can build on the dead. Fertilizer exists for a reason.
Yes.
It helps. It makes the soil richer. It makes I love how we're just turning into a garden podcast now.
Okay.
It makes it all grow better. But like that's, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. And we're not here talking about emotional sobriety today because we're like, here's a how-to. Now go and get emotionally sober. We're going to check back in next week and you're going to be a pro at it. Like this is something we're still working on. And it's a part of community being like, hey, emotional sobriety is this is how we deal with it, this is how we cope with it, and no one's perfect at it.
Yes.
And that it really, truly, I mean, I don't know, there's probably some anomalies out there, but emotional sobriety truly can only come after you have settled into the physicalness of sobriety.
Yes.
I really think. And like you said, you can get emotional sobriety outside of real sobriety, but when you aren't coping with something like that, you're able to kind of see around a little bit more, and you can see in that corner a little bit better that there's that one dirty emotion over there that you gotta sweep it out. Just my opinion.
Yeah, no.
So emotionally sobers, how do you feel today? Sober? I think I actually am emotionally sober. I have ADHD and my emotions are dysregulated. So if you are a neurodivergent girly like me, that does not mean that you cannot be emotionally sober because you're emotionally dysregulated. Like, you are in control of what you're in control of, and you know what you're in control of. And any diagnosis to that is not something that holds you back. It's just a discovery that you do things differently. So, so hopefully one of these coping mechanisms helps. I think I will go meditate.
Amen, sister.
To some music. And you let us know if we missed one or which one works best for you. But we love you, babes.
Talk soon.